In every period and era in time, there are great lovers that would have become known to the world. Some examples include Sonny and Cher, John Lennon and Yoko Ono, and Bonnie and Clyde. However, one from ancient times that continues to be taught and wrote about today is Antony and Cleopatra. As pictured behind me, of course, this is just a picture, not an actual photograph. The two were very much in love, and also, of course, Cleopatra had her eyes set on the world to increase her power and also increase the prosperity for Egypt. And throughout my life, I've been very interested in Cleopatra. I've read many books, fiction and nonfiction, about her life. However, last semester I was able to participate in Latin 101, and of course, that does focus on Roman history and their beginnings. However, through learning about the 12 Caesars, who they are the first 12 emperors of Rome, pretty much, I was able to see a different side to one of the most famous Egyptian women, and of course, one of her lovers, who was actually Roman also. Their relationship began after the murder of Augustus Caesar, or Julius Caesar as you may know him, and he was the first emperor in Rome. And Emil Ludwig wrote that as a woman and a queen, she was able to impress him greatly on the occasion of their first meeting in Rome. In 41 BC, Antony actually set for her to come to Rome to discuss her relationship and allegiance to Augustus Caesar, as the two were very famous and lovers as well. And the two actually had a child together. However, he was never officially recognized as his son. After this meeting, he fell in love with her, and her exotic looks and behaviors definitely drew him in. And he actually ended up moving to Egypt to be with her, and he began practicing some Egyptian cultures as well, including wearing makeup, dressing differently, etc. And of course, this was a major problem in Rome, as Roman men were supposed to be very strong, meaty, like an all kind of guy. And practicing in this is kind of traitorous. However, after a year together where they were able to increase their wealth only slightly, and also their renown in the world, Antony was actually made to return to Rome, where he actually ended up marrying Octavia, who was Octavian's sister. And of course, Octavian was the emperor at the time. And in Rome, marriages were not really about love, especially for the wealthy and upper class families, as their marriages were more of a contract to bring together two opposing forces, so no family would go against the other, pretty much. 4 years later, however, he actually ended up returning to Egypt, and in this, there were rumors that he and Cleopatra had been married. However, none was actually written about because nothing was really documented. And of course, this enraged Rome, especially because not only did he leave once to be with this woman and practice different Egyptian cultures, but now he was leaving his Roman wife. Very, very bad. And of course, in Shakespeare's play, Antony's character actually said, "I made these wars for Egypt and the queen." And of course, you can see how big of a problem that is, as a Roman man is giving his life for an Egyptian woman. And of course, this created more conflict, and in that, there was actually battles between Antony and Octavian, in which, of course, Antony and Cleopatra were defeated. And in 31 BC, there was actually the Battle of Actium, which is their final battle, and in that, Cleopatra and Antony were actually defeated by Octavian and his men. And although Cleopatra had already returned to Egypt, as Antony was returning, he learned that Cleopatra had committed suicide. However, this was not true, as Cleopatra was the one to help spread these rumors. But although he did not know it was a rumor, he thought that she had actually committed suicide, and this devastated him completely. So he actually ended up committing suicide. And when Cleopatra learned of this, she decided that she needed to actually kill herself because her love was also gone. And she chose to use an asp, which is a snake. And in the Egyptian culture, the snake was seen as to give divinity to the person. So although she did commit suicide, she was able to keep her goddess likeness for the Egyptian people. Patricia Southern wrote that Mark Antony had been transformed into a legendary lover and eternally united with Cleopatra. And I think this is especially important considering that the Roman people actually tried to wipe Mark Antony from their history. However, because he was so tied to Cleopatra, there was no way for him to not be connected. And of course, their relationship allowed Rome to come out victorious once again and to continue their ever-expanding territory. And of course, this is a problem for Egypt as the two were seen as counterparts from pretty much the beginning. And so I hope that this has been very helpful and that you have learned more about this important power couple that actually helped shape the world for Rome and Egypt at least, and learn about the implications that a pair of lovers can have on the world. Thank you.